PharmaPhobic is powered by Achieve the Lifestyle, a company dedicated to helping you empower your health, redefine your lifestyle, and all for the health of it. You're listening to PharmaPhobic, where we challenge the state of health in America. I'm Janie, a physician assistant, and I've seen how healthcare keeps people dependent instead of truly healthy.
And I'm Dan, a veteran turned fitness pro here to uncover the truth and explore simple and sustainable health solutions. From big pharma to big food, we're exposing the conflicts of interest keeping us sick and finding better ways to take back our health.
No fluff, no gimmicks, just real talk, real solutions, and a little bit of fun along the way.
Hello there. Welcome to another episode of PharmaPhobic, brought to you by Achieve the Lifestyle, where we help you become the strongest, healthiest, and most capable version of yourself. Mm-hmm. As always, I'm here in awesome company with my lovely assistant in life, my lovely boss in life when she wants to be, my own personal organizer in life.
This is true.
The lovely Janie Moo.
Hello, hello.
How are you doing, Miss Janie Brown?
I'm doing okay. I've had a morning. I've been at the it's 3 o'clock right now, and I've been at the mechanic since 9:30. A little 2.5 hour job turned into 4.5. So
that's a day. That's a day. I don't blame you.
We're getting started a little bit late, but you know what? Like we always say, quality over quantity. So we're going to put some quality in our minutes because it's going to be a little bit shorter of an episode today.
Yeah. And I think we're going to hit the wave tops on a controversial topic. I don't think it's that controversial anymore, but there's a lot of debate out there in the health space. Yeah. So we're going to hit the wave tops of this topic. Mm-hmm. You see what I'm doing here? The wave tops.
And we also have little Miss Maggie Moo.
Maggie Moo sitting right here. At some point, she'll let out one of her little growls and Janie will jump.
Yep.
But yeah, Maggie makes these weird noises when she wakes up in the morning. Like, they're weird. Or she'll let out little roars. Like, I thought it was a joke because it was like, it's like, what the hell is she doing?
Yeah. She, because I was at the mechanic so long, she's just been in her crate. So I wanted her to get some stimulation. So she's with us.
Yeah, poor baby. Anyway, we're going to get right into this, guys. We got some health news for you. Mm-hmm. Dee-dee. And this is going to lead into phase one of us having the conversation surrounding, you ready for it? Everybody ready for it? Seed oils.
Uh-oh.
Guys. Woo.
Hot topic.
Right there. Because this is like one of those, it's a divisive topic, right? Especially in the health space, because there are a lot of people in the nutrition space that they don't care about seed oils. They're like, whatever, just, balance your macros out, whatever you eat less, move more type people, whatever. They don't care about seed oils. And then there are people like us that do care about seed oils.
Yeah. And I know that I have some friends who are very much against people saying to cut out seed oils, but I understand where they're coming from. You and I have cut out seed oils and we've noticed benefits of it. We also aren't afraid to be disciplined with our diet and try other things. And we don't purely need convenience for food, right? Some people, it's different. They're just in different chapters of life. Now, I understand, but just let me finish. So the person I'm thinking of who doesn't think people need to cut out seed oils, she works with people who, she's trying just to get away fear from food because they're trying to, they're these people who are very overwhelmed in life for whatever reason. And then they're like, and then I have to cut out seed oils and then I have to do that. And then I have to do that. And don't get me wrong, it can be overwhelming and it can be a lot of work. However, our thought is that the harm from seed oils is worth the work that it is to cut them out.
Correct. And
it's a disservice to us as a society how much seed oils have infiltrated everything. Like you're thinking like, oh, seed oils, cooking oils, it's in your condiments. So you got to be careful of your ketchup, your salad dressings, things like that. But we're also a little bit rebellious in that regard to where once you look into it, you see how it's been allowed to be infiltrated into our food and not for altruistic reasons. And so that's almost kind of like it's our own stance. Like, we're not going to have seed oils. Is it 100% of the time? No, because they're so ingrained into our food. If you travel, if you eat out, anything, you can't always have control over it. That's starting to change, though.
I don't believe them. I don't seed oil free restaurants. I don't believe you.
Oh,
right off the rip. I don't believe you. That's where I'm at. But that's me. I'm extreme like that. I don't believe you.
But you
I assume that if I'm eating out, if I didn't cook the meal or I didn't watch them cook it, I'm assuming there's a seed oil in there
Even if you go to a steakhouse?
Even if I go to a steakhouse.
Okay.
Yep. Especially if you eat something like a mac and cheese or something like that.
You're sassy today because usually you're like, oh, it's steakhouses. You can avoid seed oils because it's just butter. And
I mean, if you just order the steak.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
But if you start eating the other stuff, I'm sure there's, you get it. Like if I order a lobster mac and cheese, I'm going to assume that there's something in there.
Yeah. And I have noticed that, and whether or not you want to believe they're seed oil free or not, more like Italian, Mediterranean, those types of places are less likely to use seed oils if they're small and
mom and pop
style, because they're using the traditional recipes.
Correct.
And canola oil isn't in traditional recipes.
Yeah. I'm not, listen, obviously I go out with the assumption if I'm eating out, there's going to be a seed oil somewhere, because they'll be like, okay, I cooked this is seed oil free, but this condiment has it. You put a barbecue sauce on the table, probably going to have it, sort of thing, even though traditionally speaking, seed oils are not part of barbecue sauces, but whatever.
Yeah.
That's beside the point. It is, I just make that assumption, you know what I mean? And yeah, I'm not saying I'm not perfect with my seed oil free life, but we try very hard to avoid them. And we're going to get into why here in a second. The funny thing is that the delineation, like you're saying, that
delineation,
the line in the sand, guys. Here, I don't know what's going on.
Delineation. Delineation.
The accent these past 2 days has been. Yeah. Yesterday, I couldn't say physician.
He could not say physician yesterday.
Physician.
Physician. Anyway, sorry, we don't have time to mess around.
So anyway, the whole thing is you're talking about people, the line in the sand is like, oh, this person works with people that are afraid of food and very stressed, so they don't want to dump that on them on top of all the other stuff. I understand that.
However,
yes, I think that there are a lot of people out there, and I'm not going to say his name, but because I can't stand the dude, but he's got a much, bigger following than we'll ever have. Yeah. Oh, I can't stand the guy. But anyway, he goes into it like, oh, there's nothing that proves that this is bad for humans. And I'm like, man, a cursory search yesterday, and I'm already finding studies on the NIH website on problems with the stuff. So what are you talking about? Dan
and I both read the book Dark Calories by Dr. Kate Shanahan, and she speaks to this a little bit. So much like how conventional medicine, and we've talked about this before, how it's siloed, like you have a cardiologist, a nephrologist, a urologist, a primary care, and all these ologists, and you're one person, yet they don't communicate about your care, and you're not you are not your bladder versus your heart versus your kidneys. It's all connected. So why aren't these specialties more connected and in communication with each other? Same thing is true with the seed oil debate. Conventional medicine, because the American Heart Association dictates a lot of the dietary recommendations for, we've talked about this, the American Oncology Association, the American Diabetes Association, and most people see these and they're like, well, they're what to follow, right? Anyway, they're the big pushers of seed oils. And
because they're heart healthy.
Yeah. But you have these chemists and biochemists who are in their own lanes are doing studies showing the harmful effects of seed oils with oxidative stress causing inflammation and things like that. But they don't communicate with each other, nor do they communicate with medical physicians in regards to how it affects the human body. So nobody's talking. So things haven't been bridged. But if you just sit there and you use logic and you say, oh, when I consume this, it causes this pro-inflammatory state. We know inflammation leads to a lot of chronic diseases like diabetes and heart disease. So wouldn't it make sense to not eat something that's going to cause inflammation?
Yeah.
So,
I think for anybody, in the health space that is either on the fence or you yourself, if you're not in the health space, but you're like, should I get off seed oils? Should I? The dark calories is probably going to be one of the best references to get yourself to get walked through not only the history of where these things came from, but the body of research that points to them being terrible for you.
yeah.
And being very, and then you got to ask yourself, well, if they're so bad, why are they in everything? Why are they so hard to avoid? They are ubiquitous in every single ultra processed food.
Yeah.
Every single ultra processed food has it.
Cheap and easy. Remember what we say about things that are super cheap and easy and convenient. It comes at a cost. In this case, the cost is your health.
I have to ask though, why the amount of processing that seed oils require, why are they so cheap?
Oh, that goes back to it's wild how much of our stuff is influenced to where they give people money to grow a certain crop, or it's the same thing like with salmon in Norway. They gave them money. Oh no, we have too much. Okay, sell them to these people and tell them it's because it's this, so then we can make money from it.
It's a rabbit hole to go down if you really you don't believe that this is super processed. You could find it on YouTube. That's the whole thing. This is super, like you don't have to go on a dark web, super tinfoil hattie to find this information. Just look up a video on YouTube of how seed oils are made. Hey, how do they make canola oil? And then after you watch that, decide if that belongs in the human body.
Yeah.
That would be the thing to consider. Here's where this topic is coming from, why we're going to hit the wave tops. We kind of just aired out our thoughts on it.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you why it came to mind, the topic right now. And it has to do with eggs, okay? So eggs, we already know, we talked about them a couple episodes ago, how awesome they are for your health, right? And you breakdown of the amount of nutrients in. There's probably one of the most nutritionally complete foods that you could ever eat, right?
Yep.
So eggs, they're kind of a big deal. They're getting cheap again. That's good, or cheaper.
Yeah.
But there's one company of eggs that stands out for those of you that eat eggs and know eggs, because they're pretty expensive. They're usually top shelf eggs.
Yeah, and they're the kind that when people tell you to eat the healthy eggs or get the more expensive eggs, this is the brand that most people go to, especially when the craze of free-range organic eggs started coming out. And
then they started bastardizing the titles and the types of eggs, and then we went to pasture-raised as the gold standard for eggs, right?
Yeah.
That's what now we're at this level now where it's regeneratively farmed eggs that are the gold standard, which now me thinking McDonald's dropped the $200 million into regenerative farms, so that's going to go by the wayside here pretty soon, but whatever. This brand of eggs, Vital Farms.
Yeah.
R.I.P. Vital Farms.
Yeah.
If you go to a grocery store and you look at eggs, they literally shelf them. The ones that are up high are going to be your most expensive ones, super pasture raised, whatever, Happy Hens, whatever. Vital Farms are usually up there, and they're pretty pricey. A dozen eggs of Vital Farms can run you $10, $11 now, which is hilarious to me because when I discovered this brand of eggs was in 2012 when I moved to Austin, Texas, and I went to the H-E-B.
Because they're local to Texas, right?
Yes, they were local to Texas.
Okay.
So back then, I'm looking for eggs at H-E-B. If you live in Central Texas or Southern Texas, you know what H-E-B is. Awesome grocery store. Florida, I love you, but Publix doesn't hold a single candle to H-E-B.
You just made some people mad.
Hey, don't at me. H-E-B over Publix all day, every day.
What's H-E-B stand for?
I have no idea what H-E-B stands for, but H-E-B is an awesome grocery store. And they have a central market if you like more uppity shopping. That's the Whole Foods comparable from H-E-B brand. And if you really want to get technical, Whole Foods was born in Austin, Texas. So boom, they got that grocery store thing figured out. But anyway, went to the H-E-B. I'm buying my groceries and I see these eggs like, oh, Vital Farms, local. They were like $3 for the dozen back then. and they were from a local Austin farm.
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, yeah. So I started buying those eggs. They were cheap and they were great, right? Fast forward to now, Vital Farms is a national operation, right? And here's where things got dark. They got bought out 2020.
By who? Do we know?
Well, the major owners of Vital Farms, let me put my old man filters here.
I feel like BlackRock's going to
bam! You know what? You've been married to me long enough that now you know. You know what to say. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. BlackRock is...
Is Pepsi on there?
No, it's BlackRock, Vanguard, which is the other big capital management firm. So you have State Street, BlackRock, and Vanguard. Guys, if you're not in the investment world, you don't pay attention to stocks and trades and all this other stuff, those names mean nothing to you. They're private capital management companies. They own everything.
Yeah.
State Street, Vanguard, BlackRock. These names, here's the thing. When you start going down, looking at stuff and investigating stuff, these names keep pow, 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 hitting you in the face everywhere you look. You know, if you want to look at vaccines, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. You want to look at cancer treatments that are controversial or that make a lot of money, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. You want to look at companies getting taken over and then ingredients change or the quality of the product change. Companies used to be healthy, they get taken over now, BlackRock, State Street, Vanguard. So you keep going down that rabbit hole. So here we go. Vital Farms got taken over in 2020. It makes me happy for whoever owned it originally because they were a single pasture out in Austin. And then they became a national brand, get taken over, BlackRock, Vanguard, and then Amazon is the other major owner of Vital Farms eggs. Now the operation expanded past, obviously, well past even Texas. So
it's
now,
almost like a franchise. Like you can have a farm and you can have Vital Farm eggs, but is there, do they have to be held to a standard in that regard?
No, that's the problem when you go national like this. So they have farms now, both farms that sell that package under Vital Farms in Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Kentucky, and Tennessee.
Kansas.
Yeah. Now, here's what the problem is with it. They had third-party test the eggs. Somebody went and third-party tested the eggs, and they were 23% linoleic acid. Mm-hmm. Now, we're going to get into here why linoleic acid is a problem. So 23%, that is a significant amount of linoleic acid in eggs that claim to be pasture raised. How do you get there? That's the feed, whatever you're feeding the chicken, which these chickens, they're selling you the eggs like they're pasture raised at $10, $11, $12 a dozen, but you're not getting pasture raised quality eggs, right?
Yeah.
You're getting the same thing as if you bought the bottom shelf eggs because they're feeding them corn and they're feeding them soy and they're feeding them stuff that chickens are not really meant to eat in large quantities. And then you get an egg that's super high, extremely high in linoleic acid.
Right.
You start eating eggs every day, your linoleic acids are probably going to go up. What does that mean? Okay, let's get into why linoleic acid in high amounts is a problem. Because your body needs it, right? But it needs this much. And if
just a scooch,
and you're getting that much. And linoleic acid is one of the problematic kind of components of seed oils.
Yeah.
Right? So
is linoleic acid, I was just reading this morning, I can't remember. Is it from a specific seed oil? Or it's a byproduct of all the seed oils? I can't remember.
It's heavy on all the seed oils, but corn and soy probably are heavier on it. But yeah, it's okay, let's backtrack a little bit for the day one and the day zero type people that listen to this. What are seed oils?
Oh, seed oils are going to be vegetable oils. So think canola, rapeseed oil, cottonseed oil, sunflower oil,
soybean oil,
corn oil, high fructose corn syrup. There's another one.
Safflower, sunflower, we put it on there.
Yeah.
Put peanut oil in there, rice bran oil, you could put it in there, which rice bran.
Palm oil, interestingly, though, has more benefits than the other ones.
Exactly.
Especially palm oil.
Yep. They don't have palm oil on the seed oils.
And so
and sesame oil, interestingly enough. I would have thought sesame oil would have been on there.
you would be surprised when you are, what am I shocked to see? Trail mix, sunflower oil or soybean oil. Or canola. Granola as well. Crackers, cookies.
Ice creams.
Candy.
Yep.
I was just at work and we got a bunch of baskets for the holidays of, like little like baskets of like crackers and olives and da-da-da-da. And I was just looking, I was like, seed oils and everything. So,
they're really, and then when you go out to eat, they're cooking stuff probably in canola or soybean oil.
And some people are like, okay, well,
if it's fried, it's going to be fried in canola oil probably.
Yeah. And this is where the problem with seed oils lies, because some people are like, well, whatever, there's just a little bit in it, right? Like a little bit, little scooch in there, right? Okay. But then if you're using country crocker, I can't believe it's not butter in the morning with your eggs that aren't pasture raised. Boom, boom. There you go. You just got hit with some seed oils. Then you go have a sandwich with a side of chips, depending on if you have any dressings on the sandwich. And if it's deli meat, there could be some seed oils in that.
Depends
and also in the chips.
Depends on the bread too.
And the bread, yes. So have seed oils as well. And then dinner. Sometimes if you get those ready to cook rices, that you just have to microwave, seed oils are in that. If you're not using just olive oil, say you're using vegetable oil for your potatoes or to cook your food in or whatever, seed oil. So, okay, maybe there's a little bit in food, but it's the cumulative effect of what people are eating throughout the day. And a lot of people aren't paying attention to this at all. And so then they have no idea. And then you go to like bake brownies. Think about a brownie mix. Like a third a cup of oil and a couple eggs. What oil do most people often use? Vegetable oil. Mm-hmm. And so it's in more places than you think.
Yeah, and you get a little bit here, a little bit here, a little bit here. And next thing you know, an inordinate amount of your calories are coming from these seed oils, right? And what it goes to is this linoleic acid compound. We're going to get into why it's problematic to consume too much of it, right? What do I have here? Why is it concerning? So it's a necessary omega-6 fat.
Yep.
Now, I think at this point, it helps. What does it help with? Blood clotting and muscle movement. Interesting. So linoleic acid helps with.
Yeah. So omega-6 versus omega-3s, right? Because we hear about omega-3s, fish oil. Omega-3s, fish oil, heart healthy, right?
Yep, correct.
And omega-6s can be bad, right? But I was just trying to think, because I like thinking in metaphors. So I'm just going to say this really quickly before you go on so people can kind of wrap their mind in a different way. I asked ChatGPT to give me a metaphor for seed oils and omega-6, omega-3s, and they came up with kind of a funny one. G will appreciate this. So imagine that there's a DJ omega-3 and then a DJ omega-6. DJ omega-6, pro-inflammatory, he's hype. No. Just all the time.
He's a techno DJ.
Yeah.
We don't like that. We don't like that.
No. And then DJ Omega-3 is like the chill, cool down tracks.
He's playing country. Okay.
Yeah, playing country, some smooth jazz, things like that. Now, when you have a balanced ratio, you get out there, you dance. Maybe you're like our boy Sully. You're doing some heavy, what is it?
He's dancing hardcore.
What type of hardcore, slamming around. And then you have a mix where you take a rest, maybe get a slow dance, feel on your girl's booty a little bit, chill, right? But then when there's this imbalance, especially with seed oils, it's just a rave 24/7. And so I just want to give that little tidbit, and then you can go.
So, okay. So there it is.
And now let's take a quick break. Have you heard about collagen and how amazing it is for your skin, hair, nails, digestion, and joints, but have no clue which one to choose? I've been there. A few years ago, I stumbled upon Bubs Naturals, and let me tell you, I've been hooked ever since. Here's why I swear by them. Bubs Naturals keeps their quality standards sky high from the start to finish. Their collagen blends perfectly in coffee, or really any other beverage you love. Plus, they've got convenient to-go packs so you can stay on track wherever life takes you. And it doesn't stop there. They'll donate 10% of all of their proceeds to charities that support veterans. How awesome is that? Oh, and they've leveled up their electrolytes too. The mixed berry, that's my absolute favorite. It's light, refreshing, and not overly sweet. What sealed the deal for me? Their electrolytes are NSF certified, made right here in the USA, and just like their collagen, every purchase helps give back. So do your body a favor, head to bubnaturals.com and use my code JANE20 at checkout for 20% off every time you order. Tired of looking like you lost a fight with a powdered donut every time you work out? Yeah, I was too. That's why I ditched the messy chalk and switched to Chalkless. Chalkless is a new, clean, residue-free grip enhancer that goes on in seconds and lasts for hours. No clouds, no cleanup, just a rock-solid grip. Whether you're crushing it in the gym, dominating on the pickleball court, or hanging on a rock face like Spider-Man, Chalkless has your back. I even hit my 350-pound deadlift PR at Summer Strong using Chalkless. Locked in, zero slip, total confidence. Ready to level up your grip game? Head over to chalkless.com and use code JANEBROWN to snag 10% off your order.
You need linoleic acid, right? I just said blood clotting and muscle movement. But what happens when you start consuming inordinate amounts of it, like if you're eating Vital Farms eggs and you're paying ungodly amounts of money for them, thinking that they're really good, and then you're having 4-egg breakfast, which is great if you're having good eggs,
Yeah,
and then you're just getting all this linoleic acid in, and then you're eating normal stuff that you think is fine because you got it from the health aisle, but it has seed oils in it. You're getting more linoleic acid in, and then you go out to eat and they cook your stuff in canola oil, and you're getting more linoleic acid in. And next thing you know, what happens is you're skewing your balance, right, of omega-3 to omega-6s.
Yep.
Now, we usually want to favor the omega-3 to be the dominant side of the equation on there, right? We know that it's got heart health benefits. Omega-3 oils also help with cognitive function. So there's a lot there. And I think it's very well known. People understand that omega-6 fatty acids can be pro-inflammatory, especially if they outweigh your omega-3s, right?
Yeah. Yeah. And it's just because back in like a long, long time ago, think of like homesteading and stuff like that, like Dan said, it was more of a balance of the omega-3s, the omega-6s, because the omega-6s are needed in times of injury, stress, but not all the time. And so what do we need when we're injured and like we need blood clotting for a cut to repair or something like that? We need inflammation, right? But inflammation long-term is harmful. And then omega-3s are sort of anti-inflammatory. But if we're skewing the ratio by our intake and we're living in this pro-inflammatory state all the time, is it a wonder why things like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, cancers, other things are a problem?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So back to it, linoleic acid, like you just said, can promote chronic inflammation. Yep. You just mentioned that. Oxidative stress, which is a problem too, and mitochondrial damage. This one's important because mitochondria are getting love out there in the health space.
Yeah, so
everybody's talking about mitochondrial density and mitochondrial function and improving mitochondrial function and all this stuff, and the role that, compromised mitochondrial function can have in metabolic dysfunction and basically messing up your metabolism.
Yeah. So when you say oxidative stress, this is where, like, we get oxidative stress, we have free radicals through common processes, right? But again, it goes back to a balance. When we consume a lot of omega-6s, there's more likely to be those free radicals, oxidative stress happening. And then if you're consuming a lot of heavily processed foods, what are foods that have antioxidant properties?
Berries.
Yeah, berries, whole foods. But if you're consuming a lot of processed foods, you're probably not consuming a lot of these other foods. And the body is good at taking care of stuff. I think the antioxidants are going to be like vitamin C, vitamin E, things like that. But it only has so much. Mm-hmm. What happens when you deplete your sources? Things start to malfunction. The mitochondria start to become less and less efficient, trying to use other means to run, other means of fuel to run, and meaning it starts using glucose. So I'm going to kind of get to this in a roundabout way, sorry. The mitochondria, when it starts to use excessive amounts of glucose, will then cause people to feel hypoglycemic, like your blood sugar is low, so that the body produces more glucose because the mitochondria want more and more fuel because they're not having a good environment for sustained fuel as if you ate a whole food diet and avoided seed oils. So now people who have no diabetes and no issues with weight start to feel hypoglycemic effects. So what do? They eat more. Now weight becomes a problem. Now insulin resistance becomes a problem. And it's just this cascade of events that can happen all because Ansel Keys.
Well, you also threw the linoleic acid ratio went all the way up.
Yeah.
So here we talk chronic inflammation, oxidative stress, and mitochondrial damage, possible effects of consuming large amounts of linoleic acid, which leads to diabetes, heart disease, and possibly Alzheimer's. And then they mention here these oxlams. So it's oxidized linoleic acid metabolites.
I'm assuming free radicals.
Yeah. But that's what it is, like oxidized linoleic acid metabolites. Yeah. It turns into those free radicals and stuff. This is interesting because now with what we just said, we gave you an example of a food that most people would trust, right? Brand that most people would trust. And we just talked about how it's high in this compound that your body needs, but now you're overthrowing your ratio. And then this compound happens to be present in high amounts in things like seed oils, right?
Yeah. And it's disheartening because I can see people trying to do the right thing. It's like, okay, I'm going to start eating eggs. I trust this brand that it's, farm pasture raised, farm fresh or whatever. And they're trying to do good things, but they're just being duped, right? And this to me...
And taken for a lot of money.
Yes. And like you talked about this at a previous episode when one of your clients has done all the right things and he's having issues. And I think of my father who, grew up in rural Kansas and he just, he does what the doctor tells him. He doesn't eat out a lot or didn't, he doesn't... He's on his feet all day. He's active. He's, like the original hardworking man, doesn't need to go to the gym to get his activity. Now you could argue like, yes, he does now that he's older and, that's different. But how does a man who has no family history of heart disease or issues, but he's done everything right, when they told him, hey, when the craze came in the 80s and 90s, low fat, you need to watch out for the saturated fat, low fat everything. So he switched to country crock, or I can't believe it's not butter, low fat this, low fat that. How come he has heart disease? How come he had to get a stent placed? And all these things. So it's hard when people try to do the right things. They try to eat these trustworthy eggs. They listen to the recommendations of the powers that be, and they make changes accordingly. And then they find they did what they were told. Now they're on 10, 13 medications for chronic issues that have just been brewing along the way, and nobody's told them otherwise.
Yeah, I think there's two stories to be told here. First is that of corporate acquisition.
Yep.
And what happens when people start a good company with really good intentions and then their business grows. God bless them. We love that. That's capitalism.
Oh, which, by the way, keep your eyes out because when they get bought out, watch for ingredient changes.
Yep.
So that happened with Siete. We talked about that recently.
We talked about Siete. Yeah, they haven't changed anything yet.
Well, I'm just telling people to keep their eyes open.
But it's
because that's one thing you can't get comfortable, unfortunately, with a product and stop reading labels. But Good Culture just got bought out.
Good Culture cottage cheese, which was grass-fed, supposedly grass-fed milk-based cottage cheese, delicious. We buy it all the time. They just got bought out for $500 million.
Yeah, and good for them. And let's just hope the integrity of the product remains.
Yep. Now, you'll start looking at sourcing will become different. So they were grass-fed cows, supposedly. Now they're probably going to go to non-grass-fed cows. They'll change it. They'll change it. And it'll take a while. Like when the companies get bought out, they usually have a lot of product in the supply chain already and product in inventory and all that stuff that they're going to have to run through before the new versions start coming out. So we'll see. They might surprise us. They might keep it the same. I doubt it because it
Yeah.
never really happens, right? Eventually they change it to something that's going to widen their margins or make their margins a little bit bigger, put the seed oil in or put this ingredient instead of that. And oh, it tastes the same. Just go ahead and sell it like it's the same thing. And people have, the brands have built trust over years. That's why they got bought out, because people are spending their money with them and they bank on that trust to give you a bastardized version of the product that you loved. But there's that story of corporate acquisition there where things are great and you trust them. They get bought out, they change. Burt's Bees, Tom's of Maine. These were great holistic brands that got bought out and they no longer are what they were before they got bought out, right? But there's also the story of what you were saying about your father, where we've gotten a result following this health guidance that we've been getting for 50, 60 years, the Ansel Keys influence, heart healthy fats and the heart healthy omega,
Saturated fats are bad.
Saturated fats are bad. Don't eat red meat. Oh, protein, you can only eat this many grams because it's bad for your kidneys. Oh, you should eat more grains. Oh, you should base your meals on your grains, food pyramid, this. We followed that advice for 50, 60 years. And what are the results?
Yeah.
Disease out the wazoo.
Would you like me to run through a quick timeline? It's really quick.
Sure.
Okay. So understand that this is a correlation. Okay. It's not a causation, but just should make you think. And that's my only hope. Early 1900s, traditional fats, butter, tallow, lard, were used mostly, very little, if no seed oils at all. Chronic diseases like heart disease, diabetes, Alzheimer's, hypertension, not really. Were a rare thing. 1909 to 1999, soybean oil consumption increases over 1,000-fold in the U.S. Linoleic acid, a main omega-6, jumps from 2.8% of our calories to 7.2. Omega-3 intake rarely budges. That goes back to that ratio where now it's skewed more into the omega-6s. All right. Within that 1909 to 1999, the 1940s to 1970s, post-World War II, industrial food takes off. Refined seed oils are cheap and stable. They can be a long time on a shelf life or, wherever. Heart disease is becoming the leading killer. Obesity and type 2 diabetes are steadily rising. 1990s to now, ultra-processed foods are skyrocketing. They're 70% of our diet?
Yeah, there's 70% is the estimation.
Seed oils are in almost every single one of them.
Yep. So the amount of calories, the percentage of calories that we consume now that contain seed oils is drastically higher.
Yeah. And what are things like heart disease, diabetes, obesity, hypertension, hyperlipidemia, and cancers and dementia? They're modern epidemics.
Yep. So you could almost, if you were to lay the graphs on top of each other, the rise in the consumption of seed oils and highly processed foods and the rise of heart disease and diabetes and all these chronic illnesses, if you were to lay them one on top of the other, they would almost match each other.
Yeah. So again, nobody's going to come out and say that because of seed oils, we now have these issues.
Too much money.
Causation, right? Yep. But even the scientific researchers will caution you on high omega, but say this is just a correlation.
Yeah.
But to me, it's like we eat differently than we ever have before. And now we have all these diseases that we didn't have before.
Yep.
And we know that eating heavily influences our diet because we have to eat. If we could stop eating and be healthier, we could, but that's not how our bodies work. And I'm also reading a book called The Biblio Diet, which is talking about the food that's in the Bible. And if you believe if you believe in God and humans were created by God, then God gave us on his creation of earth everything we need to survive. And man thinking they can come in and make something better than God, or who's going to make a imitation of what God has made?
Yeah.
You're right. And then we consume that. Are we surprised that we're sick?
Yeah, it's funny because everything's an imitation. It's a counterfeit, right?
Yep.
Of stuff that's already out in nature. Oh, you got olive oil? They use olives, this fruit that you squeeze in and you get oil. Guess what, bro? I'm going to trade you. I got canola oil, fam. What was the original use of canola oil? Hey, never mind that it's Canadian oil coming from the rapeseed, right? And you know what they used it for originally? You ready for this?
Yeah.
To lubricate the rivets on naval ships. Yeah. Does that sound like something that belongs in your mouth?
Yeah.
You know, so, hey, give me that olive oil, put it aside because it's got too much fat, right? You don't want that omega-3 in there. Take this one.
Yeah.
It's got less fat, baby. It's going to keep you nice and healthy, right? So it's two stories. All this modern imitation stuff created brings modern illness, right? So isn't it time that we try something different?
Yeah.
Isn't it like we already know what that and debating that and pushing that? Oh, no, it's okay to eat that. Just eat it in moderation. You know, we already know what that brings. Proof is in the pudding. Just go to Target and see what the random person looks like. You obviously know lots of people. They're dealing with some form of chronic illness, diabetes, heart disease, whatever.
Yeah.
So isn't it time that we just say, you know what? We need the 180 over here and go in a completely different direction.
Yeah. And if you think about it, though, because I mentioned the biblio diet, so all the food that's in the Bible, some people may be like, oh, I can't eat like that. It's a whole food diet.
Yep.
And the foods that, you know, if we avoid processed foods and you only ate whole foods, guess what would happen? You would be okay. Nobody's going to die if they can't have their hyper-processed foods made by seed oils. If seed oils were wiped off completely right now, nobody would suffer except for...
Oh, we would not be nutrient deficient.
Yeah, that's what I mean. Yeah, we wouldn't be nutrient deficient.
You would not. It's not as you can't say that it is an essential part of the diet.
Exactly.
Like if you eradicate that from our food source, nobody would be going hungry. Nobody would, nobody would be nutrient
because
deficient.
Then here's the problem, though, that what people will argue. Well, if you take out seed oils completely, the cost of food goes up. Now some people can't afford food. I think that's by design.
It is by design. That is part, and this, now we're getting into tinfoil hat territory. That is by design. And this is part of the conversation that we'll get when we dive deeper into the seed oil thing. We'll bring all of this stuff up. And we'll go through the history of them a little bit more. But it is by design. These freaking synthetic oils are present in you can't walk the grocery store without running into something that has them.
You know, right? What I was trying to make...
The only way to do that is by eating vegetables, fruits, and lean meats. But even then, because there's like ground meats that I've seen at grocery stores, you know how you get ground chicken, they'll add like rosemary extract or something.
Yeah.
I've seen them with sunflower oil in them.
Yeah. When I was making that salad for Thanksgiving, I was trying to get dried cranberries. Mm-hmm. I cannot find dried cranberries in any stores without sunflower oil.
What's sunflower oil?
Raisins you can get without.
Yeah. What's sunflower got to do with drying a cranberry?
I'm sure it's to keep it from clumping or something like that. I don't know.
They'll make something up. So that's the whole thing. It is not essential to the diet, right? It's not like you'll tell me, well, canola oil gives you vitamin C, so you really need to eat it because you get vitamin. Shut up. That's not true.
Yeah.
Right.
And the other thing that what do you want to talk about? Because I was going to go off on a little bit of a tangent.
Well, we should get into kind of wrapping up here.
You closed the book, so I didn't know if you were done. The
benefits. Well, what I wanted to close with was the benefits, like what we noticed from quitting seed oils.
Okay. One thing I'll say. Mm-hmm. There are some dietitians out there who, because there is a lot of people, specifically women who do endurance type sports and under fuel, whether if it's for aesthetics or unintentionally, they will promote like post-run eating Oreos. So that way you're getting a sufficient amount of carbs and stuff like that. And because they're saying it's better to fuel yourself with something than not fuel yourself at all.
I get that.
I get it. But when somebody has a platform like that and you're trying to help people be healthier, I'm just like, Oreos shouldn't be your go-to.
It's not like you can't put together a meal that has carbohydrates and necessary fats and protein.
And don't get me
That
wrong, when you
doesn't-
switch to a whole food diet, it is sometimes harder to consume more calories because they're more nutrient dense, they're more satiating, so you tend to eat at a lower caloric load, which for some people, that's a great strategy because maybe you're over consuming calories.
You said they're more nutrient dense.
But a lower caloric load.
What are you talking about? UPFs? Or you're talking about ultra processed food?
No, I'm talking about whole foods.
Oh, okay. I was confused.
Yeah.
It's late, guys.
So if you say you have you're not eating any processed foods, well, processed foods, one of the things about them is you can eat a small amount and get a ton of calories, right? And so for some people, like I think about the ultra marathon runners, like especially like the stereotypical like super lean like tall guys who would need to eat like a whole pizza, like Michael Phelps type people, right?
Mhm.
Like at that point, processed foods would work in your favor for caloric load, but what is the damage from the seed oils? But are they so athletically
Well, remember
that it's offset?
Yeah, and I would put that under the category of you're pursuing this high level of performance. So you're bargaining on your health, right? Because
Yeah.
we've spoken about how these people that are in these extreme situations, usually pro athletes and that sort of thing, they're bargaining with their health because they're doing something that we argue is healthy. Like these guys, they're working out, they're whatever, bodybuilders, they're putting on muscle, but they're doing it to such an extreme that they're no longer in a place
However,
where it's healthy, right? So if you are an ultra marathoner and you need 10,000 calories a day to be able to sustain your activity and you need to resort to eating whole pizzas or something like that, you're in a category where we're like, first of all, ultra marathons are gonna that's extreme for your body, right?
Yeah.
So you're in a category where I'm like, okay, you're no longer talking about health. This is something else.
Yeah. But, and just segue to what we've noticed is that in that the author Kate Shanahan, Dark Calories, she has a book before that.
I forgot.
I can't remember. Like it's the Ancient Pillars of Ancient Health, something like that. But she worked with what basketball team?
Lakers.
The Lakers. She took seed oils out of. She would did all their nutrition, like at home, away games. They ate by what she said to eat, and she took all seed oils out of them, and they had gains in the gym, on the court, decreased injuries, all this stuff. So if you're a high level athlete, or I even say if you're trying to run marathons as a mom of three or a person who works a 9 to 5, it would do you benefit to maybe take a look at the seed oils too, because you're not likely to be able to withstand an injury as an NBA player.
Yeah, you're reducing inflammation at that point, right? Like you take out the seed oils, you're reducing inflammation.
Yeah.
The end.
So
period.
Because those athletes saw benefits, that doesn't mean that we as common people don't deserve to reap benefits as well.
Mm-hmm.
And so how long ago did we, I think it's when we moved down here, we decided to cut out seed oils. Yeah,
it's
4 years ago.
Wow. That flew by.
And at first it was, well, I think you and I are a little bit different because when we said, let's do this, it was like, okay, let's do this. The hardest thing I think was just the habit of buying certain things.
Yeah, like we were, you had to, used to have overnight oats and put almond milk in it. And we had this brand and that had canola oil in it. And then, all this other stuff that we like, this granola, we didn't mind. Oh, that has sunflower oil in it. Take that out. So we kind of had to restructure how we were eating, which is why I think that if you just set that as a guideline, you're going to end up eating in a way that makes a lot of sense for long-term health.
Yeah. And we kind of did a hard stop on stuff, which I think was a little extreme, but I think really helped to reset. Because first we went full carnivore. Remember? We didn't do seed oils we did it at the same time, but we were only meat, fruit, and honey.
Yeah, which is not full carnivore. It's animal-based.
Or animal-based, excuse me. And I remember I was deadlifting and I'm like, there's so many fireflies. I feel so dizzy. Like, and then I read up like, oh, when you cut out carbs that significantly, you should increase your electrolyte intake. Cool. So that helped. And then we realized that we're very active in more long-term endurance, not endurance, but we're not doing just really quick things like we do jujitsu, or we'll do like hour-long workouts, right?
Mhm.
Not high rocks. I'm talking like over the hour, we'll do a strength portion and maybe a little bit conditioning piece. And we realized that we did need to have some carbohydrates. So then we added back in.
Or more, because the fruits tend to be faster absorbing, right? So we needed to go back.
We need something more slower digesting.
With a little bit more fibrous. So we brought in the rice and the potatoes again. I think with us, because we live off this, like running experiments like that, and then we're into the lifestyle too, like going that extreme, like, okay, we're not doing this anymore. Boom, we're going this route. As an experiment and as a thing, it's easier, right? Because it's what we do.
Yeah.
We can run that. Obviously, mom and pops at home or people that just want to get a little bit healthier, they can't run the experiment like that unless you're kind of crazy, which is fine if you want to do that too.
So what did you, when we started cutting out seed oils, I think we've talked about this a little bit before, but what did you notice?
Morning breath, gone. Like I can wake up in the morning and it's almost like I don't have to brush my teeth. I do brush my teeth, but it's gone. Yep. It's that taste that in your mouth when you wake up, gone. Body odor changed.
Yes.
So now I used to think, being Puerto Rican, I need to be sprayed up with some body mist and have the coolest deodorant and put a lot of it.
He used to put a slather, and I'm not lying, a slather of deodorant under each armpit before bed.
And Janie's like, you should stop wearing deodorant for bed and give your armpits, because you do need that. You need to listen, deodorant is kind of toxic, especially if you're buying the super mainstream stuff that has aluminum in it still. It's kind of toxic, not kind of toxic, it's pretty freaking toxic for you. And then you're putting it right there in your armpit. It's crazy that we do this. But anyway, I used to feel like throughout my day, I would eventually start smelling. And I told James, like, listen, I'm black. I'm going to smell different. That's why I can't go without deodorant. You got the Norwegian genes. You can get away with that. I can't go to sleep without deodorant because I'll wake up in the morning, I'll smell. Because your body's like purifying, right? It's detoxing. Now I can.
Yeah.
No seed oils. And the minute that I have them, like we're traveling or whatever, and I do eat seed oils because we're eating out, it's back. Morning breath, body odor, back.
We also get an increase in acne when we after traveling.
No doubt.
Like a few days later, it's like pimpies.
Yep. And then the other thing is exposure to the sun becomes way more tolerable if you are running low on the seed oils. Like getting burnt takes way longer if it even happens.
I noticed I'm no longer hangry.
Oh, and that is one when we deep dive into this, that's one because now we're talking about how the mitochondria are affected and your blood sugar kind of wavers and you feel, you were kind of hit it a little bit. I'm feeling hypoglycemic at a higher blood sugar level.
I'm not saying like I never feel hungry. That's not what I'm saying. I'm able, if you've ever felt hangry, it's like, it overcomes, like you cannot control it. You're like, I need food. Everybody sucks. I hate you. I hate you. It's that Snickers commercial, Now it's like, I'm really hungry. I want to eat. I may get a little impatient because it's like, I just want to eat, but it doesn't like wreck my mood. And I don't have to, run back and apologize to people, after I've eaten because of how I acted.
Guys, it's bad. When Janie was getting hangry, it was whoop-de-woo. It was intense.
I'm pretty sure you've talked about this before. You don't need to keep bringing it up.
So I'm just gonna let them know, because if you're just joining us here in episode whatever this is, almost a year in, it was whoop-de-woo, guys. It was serious.
Don't act like you're not like. You get grumpy.
I do not.
Yes,
get
you
grumpy.
do.
I take it like a man.
No, you don't.
I take it like a man.
You're just like, you get in a way. I was like, you need to eat.
No, that's when I'm low carb. I'm a carby girl.
You get sassy. But yeah.
I think that, and that's just wave tops there. The very important stuff. I think, it's a noticeable difference to me when I have them versus when I don't have them.
Yeah.
And that taste in my mouth when I have them, I can't stand it.
Yeah.
It's something where I'm like,
it's
ugh.
marked. It's, like if you eat MSG, most notably probably Chinese food restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
right? And you have that weird taste the next day. It's similar to that, where just you're like, yep, that had seed oils in it.
Yeah, it is just a terrible taste. But anyway, we probably blew your mind with this seed oil conversation.
That book called Dark Calories also has some helpful tips about how to start to step away from seed oils. Because like I mentioned at the beginning, it can be overwhelming. We don't expect you to go from zero to hero, okay?
Mm-hmm. It's a step down process, I think. I think it's very...
So just quickly, if you have cooking oils that are seed oils that you cook with, swap those out. Either throw them away now, which I would recommend doing that, or when you're done with it, replace it with some butter, ghee, tallow, lard, stuff like that.
Olive oil.
Extra
Coconut
virgin olive oil,
yeah.
dark glass. If it's below $10 in cost,
and it's
that's
in a plastic and super clear thing.
And then just start reading ingredient labels. We always preach that. And so I can't remember in the book, she said if it's not within the first 5 ingredients, I think it might be 8. I can't remember.
Yeah.
If it's not within the first few ingredients, it's probably a very minimal amount. And then so if that's the next step you want to take when you're reading ingredient labels, if the first ingredient is a seed oil, find something different. And then don't only worry about that for your first step, because it's a process. And then if you start to notice benefits, that's the only confirmation you need to keep going down that.
Yeah. And luckily there's an expanding market of foods that are coming out with seed oil free stuff, and an expanding market of restaurants that are claiming to be
even
seed
if you
oil free.
say you like to eat potato chips, start buying the avocado, olive, tallow, coconut oil potato chips. Just start with that.
And there's a good amount. There's now when you walk down the chip aisle, because I go to the grocery store and I don't just buy my own groceries. I'm pulling stuff off the shelf and looking at the ingredients and stuff. It's just what I do.
Yep. So on our
growing thing.
Yep. So on our website, I do have a seed oil, a way to get off of seed oils, and from ebook about seed oils. It's free. And so feel free to download that. Okay. It's on our website, atachievethelifestyle.com.
There you go.
And if you want more guidance on this, you have questions, email us at info@achievethelifestyle.com. Or if you want to get your question answered quickly, hit us up where it go down.
That would be the DM.
Yeah. @achievethelifestyle on Instagram.
Yep. So in closing, I think this is a good intro to the topic of seed oils. Because the next question is, Dan, but if they're in everything, why would they do that? Why would they put it in everything if it's so bad for you? And now you have entered the rabbit hole, which is where I step in and I really bring you in. Now you're ready to have fun. When you ask yourself that question, now you're ready to have fun.
Yep.
And next thing you know, you're going to have a little hat on your head made out of tinfoil. And that's great. Okay. It's good for you. So with that in mind, that's an episode.
Yep.
Guys, you already hit them with the information.
Yeah. So what do they need to do until we see them next time?
Start avoiding seed oils.
No.
And stay pharma-free. Thanks for listening to the PharmaPhobic podcast. If you found this conversation interesting, which I know you did, make sure to follow us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. And also make sure to check us out on Instagram @AchieveTheLifestyle. And if you're interested in pursuing a stronger, healthier, more capable version of yourself, check out our website @AchieveTheLifestyle.com.
The PharmaPhobic podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. The views expressed are those of the hosts and guests and do not constitute medical, legal, or professional advice. Always consult a qualified healthcare provider before making any medical or wellness decisions. While we discuss pharmaceutical, holistic, and alternative health topics, our content is not a substitute for professional medical guidance.